What's up? What's up? Who's in the chat? Got some bullet points. Try to make this as quick as possible. If you got your comments, questions out there, put them in all caps, please. So, ongoing issues. It's been it has been nonstop. It's not that I feel like it. It's been nonstop court action and fighting in the courts. So the first thing is the filming in the federal court lobby situation. If you haven't seen that playlist, go watch it. It was our appeal was accepted by the First Circuit Court of Appeals, and I have to file some forms about the transcripts and whatnot by July 21st, and then we'll get a scheduling order for briefs. And I will do a standalone thing on this. It's a pretty big deal, the argument that I'm making about jurisdiction. It will be, if it goes through, it'll be, a lot of things are going to happen. So that is steadily moving forward. Then the New Hampshire 9 arrests, where basically I and another lady were arrested for saying amen. I didn't even say anything, but that's what they claimed during the trial. That lawsuit, after my successful pro se defense, we have a lawsuit, and that is at the second dismissal stage. So we filed the first complaint, they filed dismissals, we filed the first amended complaint, and they just filed dismissals. We still have some things pending about compelling discovery and trying to find them in default as well, because they were technically in default. They were supposed to file their substantive whatever response by June 10th. They didn't file anything until June 30th. So they should be found in default, but of course they probably won't be. And so basically what I'm doing now on that is responding to their motion to dismiss, picking it apart, and filing my opposition to their motion to dismiss. I've already been through this with my Beard lawsuit. I was successful in that. They tried to do basically the same thing they're doing now, and get, the case, all the claims dismissed, but they didn't get dismissed. They moved forward, and I expect the same thing in this case. It'll be even better, I think, in this case. I think all of the issues and claims that we have should be moving forward to discovery and eventually trial. So there's that. What does this say? Okay. Excuse me, sorry. And then, so you guys saw, hopefully you've seen some of the more recent videos about the default situations. I went to that fine payment hearing where I was facing jail. Clearly I didn't get jailed. I had a bit of a malfunction with my recording device. Somehow when I was downloading other videos, I had swiped it onto hyperlapse. And so when I turned it on, it was on hyperlapse and I didn't realize. So the whole thing has no audio and it's hyperlapsed into 2 minutes. I'll put it up just for shits and giggles, but I could tell you what happened. This was for the second picketing ticket and disorderly conduct arrest playlist, the COVID Carol situation. I was arrested for disorderly conduct for trying to get a state undercover or plainclothes state police goon to identify himself. He was coaching the town police on how to handle the situation. And I was found guilty in that case on the disorderly conduct, but not on the picketing ticket. And Judge Polly Hall refuses to provide me a written decision on the guilty verdict, even though she provided a written decision on the not guilty verdicts. And so I've been fighting this for a while. I paid the filing fee for the appeal in this case to the New Hampshire Supreme Court, and it was rejected because I didn't file a brief. I couldn't file a brief because she's refusing to provide a written decision. And so this thing has been continued multiple times because I told her I was intending to file a Rule 11 petition for original jurisdiction in the New Hampshire Supreme Court to get a writ of mandamus from them to order her to issue a written decision so I can appeal. And she's continued it a few times. They didn't want to continue it any further, and they scheduled me for a fine payment hearing, and they were going to jail me for $150 a day for a $765 fine. Between me trying to clear it up and the hearing that was July 3rd, right? I showed up on July 3rd, and 2 days before I filed the Rule 11 petition with the Supreme Court. And so I had a copy of it there with me. She tried to force me to either do community service or set up a payment plan and this and that. And I implored her basically to, postpone, stay the imposition of this fine until this Rule 11 petition is heard. She got very flustered. She left the courtroom, had to have a recess, came back eventually, looked at the petition that I had filed, and she decided to, because she was also saying she was not going to lift the default on my license, and my license was going to go away at midnight, be suspended or whatever. And so she did capitulate and lift the default, and she continued it until October 9th. So between then and now, this Rule 11 petition should be heard, and I should have, some sort of decision one way or the other, hopefully within the next 90 days on that. That will be a 30-minute hearing. If it doesn't go my way and I don't get the written decision and it's going on to the appeal, if that, she's going to, impose the fine, payment of the fine, which is going to be $150 a day. I'm dead set on one way or the other. If I have to pay these fines, I'm doing jail time because I'm not paying them any money. So that's that issue there. Boom, July 14th, I have the unregistered vehicle fine payment hearing. So I did have a trial where I was found guilty for unregistered vehicle. It's a $150 fine that I have, so I might have to do 1 day in jail unless I can pull a rabbit out my hat on a challenge regarding this, because I'm going to be fighting this. Another unregistered vehicle charge is going to trial, and that was the first time I tried. The previous one that I was found guilty was the first time I tried this novel argument regarding a previously registered vehicle, which is defined separately from an unregistered vehicle, which would be a vehicle that's never been registered, as opposed to a vehicle with an expired registration. Right? There's a legal distinction between the two, and so I'll be fighting that on August 28th. So you're gonna have to wait till August 28th. That will be with the Sheriff's Department. You saw me, the whole Final Boss gets checked video with that sheriff. Very nice guy. That's what that's going to be. It's going to be a trial with the Sheriff's Department. Should be interesting. And I actually had some issues this week at that same courthouse with the Final Boss. So the Final Boss went from 0 to 100 in right out the rip. I didn't even get any of my stuff in the little buckets, you know, or anything. He totally flipped his wig. I got it all on video. I'm gonna wait because we have to go back for another hearing. I had issues on the way out with him as well. I was there actually representing a friend of mine. We are allowed to, in New Hampshire, represent people as a non-attorney. And so my friend had this this restraining order for harassment put on him by some Karen, and it's all completely fabricated. And so I filed an appearance, followed all the court rules. It's Rule 20, non-attorney representative, did my sworn declaration, all that. And so before we even get in the courtroom, one of the court security is like, "You will not be representing him today." I'm like, "You don't decide that." And so I did get to represent him. The judge approved it. The court security was super pissed off. And ultimately, I have some complaints. I already filed some complaints. I've been on the phone all day. And I've done a bunch of other stuff. I'll touch on that after. But yeah, so I have that August 28th trial coming up with the sheriff department and the final boss. I'm going to be dealing with him on the next hearing to finish up this cross-examination of the Karen. And then I'm going to have to deal with them. That's going to be soon. That one's going to be soon, and those videos are going to be coming out soon because these are expedited hearings. And then August 13th in Concord, I have a pretrial for the towing incident, okay? The taking without consent, where he mischievously or willfully had my vehicle towed for no reason. That is also under investigation by the town attorneys. I've received 91A information. I'm waiting for discovery on that, dash cam, body cam footage, all that stuff. I am super pissed off about this situation. That is an unregistered vehicle and an uninspected. I did get that trial date. It doesn't have, you know, the arraignment thing said the uninspected and unregistered. The trial only says unregistered. So they may have actually dropped the uninspected because I told him, and it's in his ticket, on the back of the ticket. He was like, he said he beat this case with the state police. And so I was hoping we could just go through that whole argument all over again just for fun, because this guy was a complete a-hole, and escalating from the beginning and having my car towed like that. But either way, I'm going to get in on him real hard with the whole unregistered thing. And I'm waiting for the reasonableness of the tow hearing about that. I think it's going to be the chief of police that has to come in to defend it. But I wish it was this other guy, because I'm going hard on the chief of police or whoever shows up to try to justify the reason why they towed my vehicle. Because it's not supported by any statutory provisions. And so, like I said, there's an investigation ongoing about that whole situation as well, into that officer. And yeah, that was pretty quick. That's basically it, but we can chat. I'm going to look in the chat and say what's up to some people. But yeah, it was pretty crazy with the situation yesterday. It was yesterday with Franklin District Court in the final boss. You know, he grabs my camera and turns it. He wouldn't let me take it past security for a little while, but it was still recording, and I eventually got it through. They were trying to find a reason to kick me out of the courthouse, because like I've been saying, and I did a whole bunch of research today on this, the court rule that they're trying to use from the New Hampshire Supreme Court is Rule 54. And this is an administrative rule. And all of these administrative orders that come out of the courts have to be approved by the Chief Justice of the New Hampshire Supreme Court. It's part 2, Article 73 A of the New Hampshire Constitution, and he cannot delegate that power to these lower courts to just do whatever they want. And that's basically what's happened for the past 10 years approximately. This Rule 54 is they're using it for lower judges and the clerk of courts to issue orders that are not being signed off on by the Supreme Court Chief Justice. And so this Rule 54 thing goes into the probate courts, and it goes all the way into the family courts as well. So they've been abusing this rulemaking process and legislating from the bench, which hopefully we all know they cannot do. They've been legislating from the bench through this rulemaking thing, and I already filed for an investigation. I put a notice. I sent notices of liability to the Secretary of State and the AG to open a criminal investigation for official oppression. And so I'm asking for official oppression investigations into the clerk of courts and all these lower court judges about the abuse of this Rule 54. I haven't done so yet, but I've called today. I didn't get through to anybody. I'm waiting for calls. I'm expecting calls back tomorrow from court security, the administrative office of the courts and everything, the top dogs, to tell them what's going on and what happened yesterday with the court security, which is also official oppression, using their, purported office as public servants who are my subjects and agents at all times, or what is it? Substitutes, my bad. Substitutes and agents at all times accountable to me. So that's what public servants are. And it's part 2, or Article 2, Part 1, Article 2 of the New Hampshire Constitution. So these people, I don't know who they think they are, but they're finding out real quick. What else did I do with that? I'm probably going to be filing a 1983 civil rights action on that. And then tomorrow, I am filing to broaden the investigation that I already started into all of these judges. So I'm filing a thing to expand that, and I'm filing a motion for declaratory judgment on this Rule 54 and getting a temporary restraining order against the final boss. Okay. And so that is all going to be filed tomorrow. And then I have a whole bunch of other things lined up after that, but it's all, one thing at a time. And I don't want to reveal my strategy because I know that the courts are watching and the cops are watching. I know there's a lot of law enforcement that watch my channel, especially local Homeland Security, etc. And I do appreciate that. I hope you guys are taking notes, especially, and preemptively nipping some of these things in the bud. So there's no law, there's no penalty, there's no crime. Court security can't enforce something that only the judge can do something with in the courtroom, right? They have to call the police, and the police can only enforce crimes. That's why whenever they call the police on me in these situations at court, they don't arrest me because I'm there conducting business. And Glick versus Cuniff, First Circuit case out of Massachusetts, we have the right to record police and public officials in the course of their duties in all public spaces if it's not a restricted area. So, there's no way around it. They can't use this administrative rule and apply it outside the courtroom. So that's basically it. If anyone has any questions, put them in all caps or whatever. There's not too many. So Seven Cities Kid, what's up? Aussie Nathan, Angel, Rob, what's up, buddy? Mr. Vance, hi. Frankie, what's going on, bro? Boats on acid. What's going on? I'm not stopping. Believe that. Ken, hey. JC News Now, 70s Kid Video. You're very welcome. Thank you guys for your support. If you feel like being generous and helping me out with some gas money or something, there's ways to do that in the description of this video. Boom, boom, boom. We are talking about the channel and all the things that I do here, you know. And I'm going to address again, because people get to this channel, and I know I get a lot of support from auditor channels, and I do audits sometimes at the court or state buildings and whatnot, but that's not all that I do. I am just conducting my business and I'm recording it. I don't go out in public and audit. My channel is not monetized. And you know, that's not what this channel is about. So this channel isn't about getting clicks and views. This channel isn't about going out and causing a scene. I go out, conduct my business, and if a scene gets caused by one of these tyrants, a scene gets caused, and I upload all the raw, uncut footage, you know, so people can make up their own mind and learn from what's happening. I don't want to take things out of context and thing like that. Use a hidden camera. No, I don't use a hidden camera. I just record, and I tell them to arrest me if they think that they can arrest me for recording. There's no law prohibiting it. And so I've discovered a paradox, another paradox, like this filming in the lobby of the federal court is also another legal paradox that I discovered. And so is the unregistered vehicle. It's not so much of a paradox, but the previously registered vehicle, unregistered vehicle situation. So I show people how to defend defend themselves in court, and conduct themselves as a good citizen, and hold these public officials accountable to the max. You know, you got to know what you're talking about before you get into these things, and then you have to, you won't have the confidence to do it if you don't do the research. And even people that do the research and believe they have the right to do some of the things that I do, they're not going to do it because they just don't have the fortitude and courage. I'm not trying to put anyone down. These things can be built up, but I speak with my feet, and I've proven it time and time again. I win all the time, and even when I lose, I win, because half the time it's on some petty nonsense that is costing them a lot more to try to adjudicate than they're getting in return. The $150 fine me one day in jail, it's going to cost them more than $150 to process me in and out. You know what I mean? So I take it to the max, 100%. And yeah, like I said, I'm not here to entertain people. I'm not here to try to get a reaction. I'm here to be a good citizen and hold our public servants accountable as our substitutes and agents at all times. Okay, so, it's actually Article 8. It's Part 1, Article 8 is that in the New Hampshire Constitution. The natural rights is Article 2. And so if you're not from New Hampshire, read your state constitution. If you are from New Hampshire, read your state constitution. Okay, you guys should know this thing like inside out. And when rules are cited referencing other rules, you need to go in and research the rule that was referenced, and you need to look at all the definitions. You know, it's a lot of work, but I'm good at it. I've been doing this for quite a while. Reading the law. I was a law librarian in the jail and in the prison. In juvie, they called me the community lawyer. Yeah, people. So I have no problem with sovereign citizens, and you can hope whatever the fuck you want, phased, okay? But go look at my videos. I don't pull no sovereign citizen shit. I fight with their own rules and statutes in the Constitution. Okay, but I hate it when people hate on shit. I do challenge the sovereign citizens that come in my comments and say that they have all the answers. And people email me stuff. I actually just got some from somebody, but I also want to see it on video, and I want to see the case law on this stuff, because I know all kinds of, I have a very good friend of mine who's done all the stuff to change their status and all that stuff, but they're still driving around registered with the license. So I'm like, at what point are you, and how far does it go beyond a license? When are you going to be able to be successful with it in the courts, as I have been for, I mean, decades at this point? At this, you know, within the past 5 years, I've taken it to a whole nother level. You know, I won in 1983 against the state. Against at the time, the AG was Gordon MacDonald. With my beard lawsuit, they held me in solitary confinement for refusing to shave my beard on religious grounds and denied my parole. And I sued and I won. Pro se. Made case law. Now everybody can grow a beard as long as they want. Now he's the Supreme Court Chief Justice. He had to recuse himself from my appeal because he's involved also with the New Hampshire 9 arrests and my lawsuits and all the things that happened on this channel. Okay? So I'm just one man against the machine trying to show people what can be done. And I'm hoping that people take it for what it is, lessons on civil disobedience, and how to stand up for yourself. So defiance, yeah, I mean, bro, I've been tased and sprayed and I've had the longest cell extraction in the history of the state prison. Like, what have you ever done with your life? Phased and confused right now. So people can talk all the shit that they want, but they ain't never done what I did, because they talk about doing shit that they can never do and never will do. Suckers. So yeah, I mean, that type of shit motivates me even more. You know how many people told me, you're never going to win this, you're never going to win that, you're never going to win, you're never going to win. I've already won so many times, over and over and over again, you know? So yeah, let's go see. Boop, boop, boop. It's amazing how people in power think they can make up their own laws and disregard it. Yeah, I mean, the federal court situation for recording in the lobby, the prosecutor said those are just words on paper when I brought up, you know, the state session statute and their own statute that says that the federal government does not get jurisdiction until they comply with the state session statute. Those are just words on paper. Those have nothing to do with them having jurisdiction, right? So in that case, we already have case law on the tax side, because this jurisdiction is also about tax exemption for the federal government. And so it's been 142 years of federal non-compliance with our state session statute, which means they have zero tax exemption and they have zero jurisdiction, lawful jurisdiction. They might have proprietary jurisdiction. We got mosquitoes. Proprietary jurisdiction because they may lease or own the property itself, but that doesn't mean they have lawful jurisdiction. The only way to acquire lawful jurisdiction is to comply with the state session statute, New Hampshire RSA 123:1. Okay, so until people can start spitting shit out like that and coming with the victory after victory, you know, that it's like water off a duck's back with me. I don't pay it no mind, because I know what I'm talking about, and I prove it because I speak with my feet and then I talk about it after I've already done it. You see how it works? Yeah, ignorance is no excuse for the law unless you're a cop or a judge. 100%. That's how it works. Or these court security guys that can't even, they don't even know what rule it is. Rule 19, Rule 54, Rule 204 in Superior Court, 1.4 in District Court. I mean, come on, don't test me. I don't have none of that written down in front of me either, right? You can see my notes. That is all off the top of the dome, and I have brain damage and head trauma. So anybody trying to say, and people in the comments too, it's a lot of work and this and that, start reading a book. Pick up the fucking dictionary when you hit a word. You know what I mean? Like, people really need to understand that it's up to you to understand your rights. And if you don't understand your rights, you don't have any. You need to understand the law better than the cops, because the cops don't know it at all. All right. Oh my goodness. Dun, dun, dun. So yeah. FaZe lives in his mother's basement. Probably. Nah, it is what it is. Yeah, that's it. Anybody got any questions? Go back, check my playlists so you understand what the hell's going on with this channel. Don't expect it to be like other channels, because there is no other channel like this. Everybody knows it. So that's it. Have a good night, everybody. I will be uploading some really spicy stuff with the final boss very soon. I also have some other announcements to make. If anyone wants to join the Telegram group, I am opening up. It's still private, and it's going to require an email. You got to email me at absolutedefiance@protonmail.com, PROTON mail.com, absolutedefiance@protonmail.com, and shoot me an email. Tell me you want to get into the Telegram group, and I'll try to make sure you're not a troll. And if the trolls will reveal themselves, and they get banned real quick anyway, but we're not going to have it open. I'll let people trickle in as I get to them. Send me a request via email to get in the Telegram group, so we can help support each other and understand what's going on in your area. Because when I have time, I have no problem helping people out when I have the free time. Right now, I actually have some emails to get back to. I chip away at them when I can. The comments, I chip away at them when I can. And yeah, the final boss footage, man, this guy goes crazy, and then the other guy gets into it. And I was trying to be extra cordial and respectful, and he just like had a hair across his ass. And they were mad because obviously court security knew I had filed motions to represent. So for some reason, they told court security that I was going to be, court security found out that I filed motions to represent someone and said I wasn't going to represent him. Pretty wild stuff. Guarantee you're not seeing anything like this on anybody else's channel. Mr. Dali, what's up? How's it going? I believe in anarchy. That's what I believe in. I believe in mutual agreement, and without using force to get that agreement. Your freedom ends where mine begins, and vice versa. And so I believe we can all, listen, we have to police ourselves. We don't need the police to police ourselves. You just need trusted people in the community. And I don't believe we need so much government. Government is way bigger than it was ever supposed to be, beyond the scope. They're supposed to be fixing bridges. We have 14 red bridges that can't be used here in New Hampshire, and a whole bunch of other ones that are in disrepair. And meanwhile, our taxes are going to bomb children overseas, and fund all these foreign conflicts, because they're not wars, because no war has been declared by Congress since World War II. The Vietnam War was not a war. These are all extra constitutional, problems from the CIA and the regime change and color revolutions, destabilizing other nations and all that type of stuff. So yeah, I think we need to have a much smaller government. Yeah, I know so the judge, it was interesting because the judge was not trying to allow me to, I was born in Nashua. What's up? I was born and raised in Nashua. So the judge was pushing back on my filing of the appearance and was trying to raise good character qualifications, questions about that, because I have felonies on my record. And I had to write a whole supplementary thing to what I had already put in, telling him that, I've never had any crimes of moral turpitude, which is the only standard for a lawyer to be able to represent one, is to not be convicted of crimes of moral turpitude. And so I've never had anything of moral turpitude, no victims, nothing like that, no theft, no fraud. And so I also mentioned how the court security said, "You will not be representing this guy today." And I said, "It seems like this decision was predetermined and I have it on video." So maybe that was it. Maybe it was the fact that I owned and operated a sober house for 7 years since I got out of prison. And I volunteered for Smart Recovery and became the local coordinator in the recovery community for Smart Recovery USA. Maybe it was because I worked for the mobile crisis response team at Manchester Mental Health with the police. Maybe it's because I worked on the assertive community treatment team for Manchester Mental Health. Okay, so for people to think I'm some sort of crazy idiot or some scumbag, I'm actually a really good guy, and I've done a lot of good things in the world. I've helped a lot of people, and I have a lot of good friends and good supporters. And you're not going to say, because some malum prohibitum stuff, right? Things that are prohibited by law are not necessarily immoral. Yeah. And so I do not necessarily believe in the requirement of a personal driver's license. No. I think people should be able to drive their property, travel in their property wherever they see fit. I think commercial driver's licenses make sense in many cases. A big truck, you got to know what you're doing on that. So commercial driver's licenses, yeah, I think those should be a thing, but I don't think just somebody needing a license to drive to move their property and use their property however they see fit and be tracked and traced. We have Article 2B of the New Hampshire Constitution. We have the right to privacy. Okay, and so we don't have privacy when we have a frigging Auschwitz tattoo on the front and back of our vehicle that can be tracked and traced by the state and by other nefarious bad actors. So yeah, I don't think we should even be able to need license plates unless it's a commercial vehicle. Need to know the rules of the road somehow. Well, yeah, my mom taught me how to drive. My mom taught me how to drive, and you should be learning from someone who knows how to drive and get comfortable with it. Everybody pretty much seems to be able to do it. And if they can't do it, they're liable for anything that happens. If they cause an accident, they're still liable, regardless of them needing a license. if you cause harm to another person and you knew you can't drive, that's not okay. That you can be dealt with in civil court and whatever. You can also be charged criminally. So there could still theoretically be rules of the road without needing a license. There could still be rules of the road without the need to require people to have a license or a registration. Right? So, yeah, I mean, less rules. So this is how it works in my mind. Laws create crime. Laws don't dictate morality, for sure, and laws create crime. So no laws, no crime. Right? Right. So I'm not saying that we shouldn't have agreements, and people disagree regardless of whether there's laws or not, and that's what I think. I think people will come to agreement on things, and everywhere you go from city to city, there's a different culture, country to country, there's a different culture. So we don't need so many laws, I don't think. I think we have too many laws and statutes. So no victim, no crime. That's right. No witnesses, no case. No, I'm just kidding. Seriously though, if you think about it, logically, not with emotion, oh, we need laws, we need some laws. Okay, let's say I agree with that, or it doesn't matter whether I do or not. Laws create crime. Because if there were no laws, there would be no crime. But then that gets us into what? Natural laws. These natural laws, freedom of movement, right? Freedom of speech, freedom to practice my own religion or not practice a religion or have any belief system forced upon me. So there are natural rights, and natural rights have to be defended, and we have a right to defend them. And if we don't, or we don't think we do, or we don't know how to, we will lose them. We've already been losing them because people don't know them. They don't understand how to assert them. They just want to go along to get along. Putting the mask on during COVID, all that, stuff. Just paying the fine just to get away with, to just to not have to go to court for the ticket. When you could probably beat it because for any reason, for any reason, they make mistakes all the time. You could maybe get it pled down to a lesser amount of fee or something. There's a lot of things you do, but for me, it's pushing back on the system and taking everything to court, taking everything to trial, not paying any of the fines, if any have come down the pike. Like the federal court, I don't know how they think they're going to get $100 out of me for filming in the lobby. That is never going to happen, and they've been adding on penalties for non-payment. They've been adding penalties on for non-payment. Oh, I also forgot to tell you guys about this. So my phone being stolen in the court. So I filed 41G motions with the magistrate to order the witness to return my phone. There was 3 different motions: declaration, memorandum of law, and the motion itself. So I also filed that, waiting to hear on that. Hopefully hear something soon. It would be nice to get my phone back. It's been 14 months, no charges. Pretty crazy. Boo, boo, boo. Do I believe murder, unjustified homicide is a capital offense? I think a lot of things are capital offenses. Pretty sure I've talked about it here on this channel. There been some stuff here with pedophiles, And you know, I think they should be thrown in a wood chipper, basically. Um, you know, so that's not even murder. I think murder that's unjustified, you know, self-defense. So we have the use of force versus violence, right? Initiating the use of force is violence, and murder and you know, killing someone for just because you don't like the way they looked at you. Yeah, that's a crime and it should be dealt with. And with or without cops, things happen to people who do that kind of stuff. Things happen to people who harm other people's family members and friends, right? So I think that we've become pussified, and you know, I'll say vigilante justice has fallen out of favor. And I'm not talking about, you know, there's stuff that's happening right now that are actual crimes. Um, and these are bad actors across the country. Like the whole, I don't even like to get into all of these political footballs that people are distracted by. Like the immigration thing is a big distraction. The abortion thing is a big distraction. Are they issues? Yes, but there are, you know, corollary issues, whatever. And there are the central issues that all these things are springing from, and it's because we have a corrupted government. And the linchpin issue, in my opinion, in the world is the Israel question. Ties into the Epstein situation, right? So the whole Israel-Palestine question, the illegal occupation of Palestine, is how I see it, um, is a linchpin issue. That's the reason we got in all these foreign wars, why all our taxes are being spent on bombs to benefit this one country who has a secret nuclear program, not Iran, Israel, who stole nuclear material from the United States to create their nuclear program. That won't let anyone inspect their nuclear program, that very likely killed JFK because he wanted to inspect their nuclear program. And he wanted the American Zionist Council or whatever it was to register as a foreign agent, which then became AIPAC, who controls, you know, 90% of Congress and a lot of our other um, politicians. And it's the same entities that own the media. And I'm not talking about Jewish people. Jewish people are not the problem. Um, I know some people think they are. But that's not what I believe. I think it's the Zionism, because there's Christian Zionists and there are Muslim Zionists as well. Yep, see, Zionists. Don't get me started on Israel. The Zionists and the IDF blowing up. I've seen shredded, blown up Palestinian children. And people want to say that they support Hamas. They voted for, so this 4-year-old, this 5-year-old, this 6-year-old is a Hamas supporter, and they deserve to be blown up, or they are going to grow up and to become Hamas, so they deserve to be blown up. So I absolutely fall on the side of Palestine. And if you don't know about this situation, you should do some research on it. Yeah, I'm a supporter of the BDS movement. I started the BDS New Hampshire Facebook page. You guys can check that out if you want to get a jump start. Go back to the earliest posts. I've shared a lot of articles and some documentaries to check out. Yeah, I have tons of Jewish friends. You know, I don't care what your religion is. That's the thing. Judaism is not a religion. I mean, it's not a race, it is a religion. And so Semitic people as well, it had to do with a spoken language. It does not have to, like, Palestinians are Semitic people. So that whole thing needs to be sorted out. The whole Epstein file situation, now all of a sudden he had no clients. There's nothing to see here, folks. Just turn the TV off and go to bed. You know, it's crazy. You're telling me that guy was, we know his Ghislaine Maxwell was found here in New Hampshire hiding out in a $2 million house that was bought through, third parties, straw men. And her father was a Mossad super spy. He was an Israeli super spy, so he got thrown off. For all we know, his daughter threw him off the boat. If you know the story, it's called it was called, I believe, the Lady Ghislaine. The boat that the father fell off of in the middle of the ocean and died. I think Epstein is alive, sipping Mai Tais in Israel. They are a pedophile protecting country. You can Google it. Go ahead and Google it and research it. So, dancing Israelis, yep. How about Bibi Netanyahu since 1992 saying that Iran is weeks away from a nuclear bomb? Same guy who said there were WMD in Iraq, which we now know finally are lies. Finally, it's accepted that those were lies, but now people are eating up all this Iran crap. It's unbelievable how retarded people are. Absolutely retarded. That's what I should change the name of the channel to. Absolutely retarded. So, boom, boom, boom. Yeah, Wheelock's World. I think, that's Tiny House Guy, I think. Something Tiny House. What's going on? I appreciate all your comments and support. Glad to see that you are aware of the situation over there. Overall, we need laws to be civil and license certificates. You know the rules. That should be. No, I mean license certificate. So you think someone needs a license to give a haircut and tattoos and all this stuff? I'm not, raw milk, fresh eggs, like whatever. I don't care. I think people are smart enough to figure things out, and if somebody sells something bad, then they get sued over it, or they could get arrested for harming someone. So we are going overboard with all of the licenses and stuff. Like, the license to carry a firearm is, you cannot license a right. Okay, and criminals are going to get the guns anyways. Or like in the UK, they don't even have guns. They grabbing any sharp object. Knives, they ban knives, and people are still using knives now. Because they're going to use something to commit a crime. I mean, it's you cannot freedom is dangerous. Freedom is inherently dangerous. People, come on. I think she was in Boston for a bit. You wrote a book on the restoration of Palestinian nation. Really interesting. If you could email that, a link to that for me, Absolute Defiance at protonmail.com, that would be cool. Or if you could link it in the comments for everybody, that would be awesome. Thank you so much. I think she was in Boston for a bit while they were supposed to be looking for her too. Who's this? Oh, Ghislaine. Yeah, okay, yeah. Ghislaine, yeah, so they found her hiding out up here. The way they are now so careless about having narrative consistency is, yeah. that Epstein's alive. The narrative consistency is completely. Remember the big photo op when all the people came out of the White House and they're all holding up the folders. Phase 1 of the Epstein files with, you know, all these blank pages. Like, I have more stuff in my thing. I have 2 pages of stuff in here, and like I have more stuff related to the Epstein files than the phase 1 packet had in it related to the Epstein files. And there's tens of thousands of videos of her, you know, Pam Bondi said, like, the whole thing is spinning apart. And then, you know, and I know a lot of my friends love Trump, but you guys know I don't even give a fuck about any president except JFK. After he was the last real president. The rest of them have been, you know, installed puppets. And so I hate the federal government. I don't think it's necessary. We got DHS, Homeland Security, GSA, all these, you know, it's way out of control. ATF, FBI, no, we don't need all that. Maybe, yeah, like I will capitulate to the sheriff's office. Okay? I will capitulate to like the sheriff's office and people who can be deputized in situations and things like that. But we don't need all of the government that we have. I think it's way too much government. And remember, like, they are not only are they taxing the hell out of you, but they're devaluing the fiat currency, the debt notes that we use. They're taxing that by printing it into existence. We went from $3 trillion to almost $40 trillion. Do you know what that means? Do you realize how much that devalues the scale that devalues, you know, it's more than 10 to 1 scale. Let's just say it's a 10 to 1. So a dollar is now worth 10 cents, basically. It's how that works. And people want to know why they're paying more for eggs and stuff. It's unbelievable. What do we got here? We got some more questions. But yeah, Earl Parker, great comments there. And great insight about the whole narrative crumbling with this Epstein thing. A lot of people are waking up and a lot of people are jumping ship. And what happened at Fort Knox? I mean, they throw out these little distraction things to make us feel hopeful and trust the plan, the whole trust the plan thing. And so the right is being just as apologetic to whatever Trump does as the left was when Biden was in office. Okay, so both can be criticized and both maybe have done some good things, you know, theoretically. So don't think I'm on one side of the vulture. They're 2 wings, you know, 1 bird. All right. Don't trust your fucking government. Should the Republican and Democrat parties be replaced by the independent party? So, like, just being independent, you know, I think I've written some stuff about the destruction of the parties. Go to my franknstaples.org. I've written a whole bunch of things about the secession debate and destroying the 2-party system. The founders said that party was, you know, faction was, what was it? Faction is, it's been a long day. Faction is the death party is I forget how it goes, but I think you guys know, Google it. But faction and party are like the death of liberty or something along those lines. It's destruction. It just destroys everything. And now we have this, you know, they put these 2 different puppets up there and it's like, pick your poison. Do you want, you know, cyanide or do you want chloroform? I don't know. Like, pick your poison here. And I'm not picking a poison. I'd rather have neither. I don't think so. The parties, I think, should be destroyed. I think it should all be everybody's on one ballot, and the whole system is so rigged with the primaries and all of that, and nobody can get on the ballot. I think there needs to be limits, not only the term limit thing, but limits on how much a candidate can spend, especially on the local level for some of these little things, and even governor, you know. Our last, like, I know that our current governor, I'm going to be running up against her again in 2026. She has hundreds of thousands of dollars to spend on this campaign, and she's a multimillionaire. You know, I spent $8,000 in 2024, and I got her. First of all, I got excluded from the debate. Hopefully, you guys saw that video, and she called me out by name during the debate, and of course I wasn't allowed to be in there. So that is also going to be a lawsuit. Trust me, that is coming. The defamation lawsuit on Governor Kelly Ayotte is coming down the pike. Strategically, it will be released. I have so much other stuff to do, but yeah, that's what I feel about the parties. I think this is what I think. I think people need to get hyper local in your area, and forget about the federal government and all these distractions from the federal government. Focus hyper local and get involved and vote in the primary and run if you can. Run for open seats. Sometimes there are open seats or unopposed seats. Like, if, you know, Plato said, he who refuses to engage in politics agrees to be ruled by his inferiors. And so that's what we're dealing with right now. We're being ruled by our inferiors because we're not putting up our best people who are going to shut shit down and cut the spending and the wasting of our money and the, you know, the pedophilia and all this stuff. But that's what they do. They find these fucking scumbag pedophiles, and then they get behind them and they put them into these positions of power and operate them like a sock puppet. And they own all of the sock puppets, and it's all theater, especially on the federal level, the national level. Like, it's all theater. It is all theater. Yes, sir. Isaiah Fraser, freedom is dangerous. That's right. John Peace. Am I familiar with the restoration of rights in Florida? They have a specific restoration of firearms. We're going to get, I actually have a whole, so I did all the research for myself, and over the past, so I actually first discovered the state New Hampshire restoration process in 2004, and done a lot of thinking about it, and that's why I did the whole machine gun shoot thing, and I filed, if you saw that in there. But I also have been using AI lately. We can talk about that. I've been using AI. I have 2 different paid AI services that I use. I have Team ChatGPT and I have Perplexity Pro. And I feed it all this stuff, and I tell it the arguments and to do deep research based on my arguments, and I use it to draft all my motions and things like that. But the point of this is, I have a thread, a conversation all about the rights restoration process, and as people either email me or comment in that video, if you want to go back and comment on that video and ask about Florida, I believe I've already looked into the Florida situation. I'll check my thread, and you can send me an email as well, and I'll send it to you. You don't have to comment it with your personal business, and it will be situational, and I can take all your details and run it through and get exactly what the process is that you'll need to do in your state. And it's different in every state. New Hampshire is the most, the best, the most like protective to our rights, in the least restrictive that I'm aware of. It's automatic by statute that all your rights get restored. Other states, there's all these processes, and like in Texas, you can get the right to have a firearm in your home, but the feds don't consider you to have your rights restored, so you're still federally prohibited from possessing a firearm. So if the feds come to your home and you have a firearm in your home, they could get you in Texas, regardless of whether the state allows it. So it's very nuanced on that and many other issues across the country. So please, anybody else who is interested in restoring their rights after felony conviction, let me know. Go to the machine gun shoot video or shoot me an email at absolutedefiance.com and I'll send that over. Also, send me an email and ask to join the Lion's Den Telegram group, and that way we can have it all centralized. There's a lot of stuff in there. I'll have it broken down state by state, and as I do the research, because I'm not going to research every state for the fun of it. I asked AI to produce a complete list that would correspond to the restoration process, and there is none. And there's nothing regarding the jurisdiction state session statutes in the federal 40 U.S.C. section 3112. You have to look that up. 40 U.S.C. section 3112 is, you got to see what is the session statute in your state that corresponds with that. I would say ask an AI, and it should tell you, but fact check it, research it, and double check. You do have to double check AI. Sometimes it messes up. That's getting much better. It's getting better and better and better as they're doing upgrades and stuff like that. So if you have any questions about AI, I know a lot of people also, they kind of poo-poo it, or they look at it as, oh, you're using AI, it's doing all the work for you, you don't even have to think. That's not exactly how it works actually at all. And it's based on user input. So if you're familiar with the term GIGO, garbage in, garbage out, if you put garbage in, you're going to get garbage out for coding. And the same is, it's the same principle applies to AI, or a large language model, because it's not actually AI. It doesn't think. It doesn't have artificial intelligence. It has whatever it's available. It basically sees all the words. It's a large language model as, mathematical formulas and how they all interact based off things that it's given for information. And so you are going to need to feed it your own arguments. You're going to need to feed it the documents, and you're going to need to instruct it on exactly what you want it to do, what you want it to research, how you want it to argue. It will only mirror your own consciousness. So, like I said, it's based on user input, and if you're not giving it the right prompts and being specific and articulate with what you're trying to get out of it, then you're not going to get what you're looking for. But it can be very helpful, and it is very helpful. Like, you tell it the whole situation, feed in all the documents from your case, and you say, give me a whole line of questioning, or do a prediction on the outcome based on the evidence and the this and the that. And I mean, AI is awesome. It's a tool, and if you're not using it, you're losing it, and you're gonna be left in the dust. This thing, it saves so much time. I wouldn't be able to be doing all the things that I'm doing, and it's totally consuming all my time. But I wouldn't be able to do them all at once like this without the assistance of the AI to do the bulk of it. I do the thinking, it does the writing. I mean, and I have to proofread everything. I have to proofread and edit, and a lot of times at the end. I do final edits. You know, I do my own final edits with things to make sure it's 100%. And you got to fact check all that output as well. I hate federal, state, county, and local government. You know what I mean? Well, that's the thing. Like, people, it's like worshiping government. It's like, get over yourself. The government is the problem. What did Reagan say? If the government says, I'm the government, I'm here to help you, like, don't trust them. The government, I'm here to help. I'm here to help. I'm the government. They're not helping anything. They're spraying chemicals in the sky. They very may well have caused, not the government, I guess. I don't know if it was contracted, but that rainmaker, cloud seeding stuff that they got going on, it's quite suspicious. I mean, Jesus, we could do a 10-hour show on all these things here. You guys want to know all my different views on the world. What happened to getting rid of the IRS? Exactly, Seven Cities kid. What happened to getting rid of the IRS? What happened to the Fort Knox audit? What happened to Doge cuts? Well, they all got spent. They were like, oh, we weren't going to be able, we were in really big trouble when we didn't have all that extra runway. Now we got all these Doge cuts and saved billions of dollars. So we got all this extra runway now to get us back and beyond over where we were. Okay? And it's seriously questionable about Trump and Epstein in the whole Elon debacle where he was like, he's in the Epstein files and all that. I mean, and now with, even though, you know, Elon deleted it and whatever, it's weird. It's definitely odd. And then now Trump is like super, and Trump previously was like saying there's Epstein, bad guy, nefarious things, horrible things were happening on that island. Something's going to happen to him. What did he say? I forget the words that he used, but it was not good. And then now it's like, nothing happened. What I think it is they have control of, the deep state has control of the files. I think Epstein got out, gave up his blackmail stuff, you know, control of it to whoever, and he's sipping Mai Tais. He paid his price, right? He did his thing, and he's being rewarded for his efforts. And now they have it in their control again, and they're using it to manipulate everything. Clearly, look at all the like this Palantir stuff. I mean, the whole Palantir thing. Come on, guys. Like, really? We're in deep doo-doo. And Trump, even if you think he's the savior of the world, which I don't, he's not going to be there forever. So even if you want to characterize everything he's doing as great and amazing and all that, he won't be there forever. There will be a new sock puppet, muppet, motherfucker, scumbag tyrant who's just lying to us and they're gaslighting us, playing off these both sides, and most people don't even, you know, participate in the politics because the extreme right and the extreme left, I will call them, are both as annoying as you can be. They're both equally as annoying, in my opinion. You know, fucking bootlickers to their, you know, wing of the same freaking bird. You know, it's crazy. Oh my God. Message retracted. I don't know why these messages keep getting retracted from Mr. Vance. maybe he's talking shit. Boom, boom, boom. Jake Sheen, what's up? 100. Vote for me for president. Okay, if you're on, I'll vote for you if you're on the ticket. Boop, boop, boop. Ventriloquist dummies all around. Yep, exactly. Earl Parkour. It's really, people are hypnotized by the show. My team, it's like sports for idiots. They get caught up in this ideological, political identity, groupthink, right? Go check my pinned video, my groupthink video. If you guys haven't seen that one, I think it was really good. I put some work into that. You know, it's some real 1984 shit. Why are most politicians listed as actors on IMDb? I don't know. I've never actually looked into that, but they probably are. And that's probably where they're farming them from through this child, you know, this child trafficking system. Yep. Angel, what's up? Yep. Remember to like the stream, like, subscribe, turn your notification bell on. There might be some long dead spots on this channel, you know, because like I said, I'm not out and about trying to create content. I just document everything that's going on. So you never know when a live stream might pop up, or a video might pop up, or a premiere might pop up. I love having people in the live chat and talking to everybody. As long as you share investment tips with me. Yeah, give us the insider information so we can make some good trades when you get elected. So research. Tennessee is good for the Second Amendment. Yeah, Tennessee, I've heard good things about Tennessee. There are some other good states. There are some other really good states besides New Hampshire. For sure, we have problems. We have some serious corruption in the government here for a long time. It's not good. It's not good at all. Chicago, Chi-town. If elected, I'll execute an order to restore all the rights. Yeah, so if I'm elected governor, I'll be issuing pardons for, you know, nonviolent drug offenders and stuff, and I'll be making my rounds at the prison, and I will force the warden and the superintendent to, the commissioner, to let people know that I'm open to all, you know, whatever pardons come before me, because it's really not that many people in the prison system in New Hampshire. I'll say 2,000 to 2,400 maybe, and you know, I could go through all those pardons. Some of them would be automatic, basically. No, you probably need the death sentence, because it's probably going to be a lot of pedos trying to get out. But I will also look into false allegation cases 100%. I know that is a real thing. I'm dealing with it right now with this Karen who made, wait till you see the claims this lady was making. They're not even criminal, and yeah, it's wild. It's gonna be wild with that. I know the time needed to get a good prompt. So with the prompt game, you just kind of got to practice and ask AI, how can I improve my prompt game to get what I want? Please explain it to me, and then just keep talking to it about how it works. And that's the best advice I could give you, because it knows what it can do. Because I've made some custom chatbots on ChatGPT. I made a pro se legal bot, and I made a trading bot, a crypto trading bot, and I made my governor campaign advisor bot, and then I have a biohacker bot. In the biohacker bot, I put in, all of them have custom knowledge base. I put in all kinds of nutrition and orthomolecular medicine in there, peptide information, and this biohacker bot is freaking amazing. You can put your DNA into it, and it will decode your DNA to tell you what kind of, genetic predispositions you have. You need to eat more B12. You need to stay away from this food. You need to eat more of that food, all that type. It can read all your blood work and things. So I can totally give people access to that. Join the Telegram group. That's going to be the caveat. You got to join the Telegram group to get access to my my custom AI bots. Boom, 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 boom. Government is not only the problem, but they have the solution that creates another problem. Yeah, exactly. Alex Schultz nails it with the problem reaction solution, the Hegelian dialectic. So yeah, I mean, they have a solution that's worse than the problem and needs another solution that's worse than the previous solution, and it's just this ongoing cycle. It's unbelievable. Good. I'm glad to hear Epstein thing is what changed you. I think a lot of people are really, they're still, so this is the one that's either already pushed people over to the and out of the whole, Trump is God and Jesus and all this crazy stuff, and he can't do wrong, he's perfect, and it's all 5D chess and all that. Like, you can only take that so far, and I prefer a transparent government that's accountable at all times. I don't want a government that is being run by pedophile elites that are lying and profiting off of the average person, and everybody. The government is a freaking parasite. The government is a parasite. Okay? Yeah, I don't even get into the whole the 4chan stuff and all that. Elon using Doge cuts as cover for getting access to the federal government data sets. Maybe. He probably, yeah, I'm sure. I'm hoping Elon, he seems, I'm on the like, Elon, I don't trust him. He's got the whole brain implant thing, the brain computer. That's like jacking into the Matrix. So, and he has he's part of the technocracy crowd. I like technology and everything, but I don't think we should be, what happens when people are buying robots that then the robots start doing your job, and then there's a whole bunch of people that are out of work and starving. Remember Demolition Man with what was his name there, Dennis Leary, the underground people, and they come out and they steal the trash and everything. That's what it's going to be like. It's going to be a vast dystopia that has this utopia, this parasitical utopia that's subsisting off of the dystopia that is creating. You understand? Patriot Knight, what's up? His campaign donation is going to be a huge profitable investment. Which one is this? Elon with the America Party thing. Once he found out who was involved, he shit his pants, instantly regretting. But I know for sure what Trump getting shot was. So yeah, the Trump getting shot thing, I am dubious. I know people are, you think they're fake this? Yeah, I do. I do think they could fake it and would fake it or allow it to happen, and he got lucky. And maybe they actually tried to take him out. And after they did that, they said, you know, you're either going to play ball or you're going to get JFK'd, bro. You got lucky that time. That was a warning. We can have these, you know, lone wolves popping up left and right. And who do you think does that type of stuff? Think about it. It's not Iran. It's not Iran. Vance is the next president. Possibly. He's part of the whole technocracy thing. There's that guy, I forget his name, wrote a book, mentioned him in it. He's part of the whole, which one is he part? I think he's part of the Palantir thing. I mean, Vance with his eyeliner. Come on. Right. When Trump is gone, the tyrants will take, they're already doing it to the other side, and now the right is cheering it on. But what happens when another Biden gets in office, or Kamala, and it's the other side, and they have to play it the other way? And now it's like it's this freaking psyop that they're giving a break to one side, then they attack the other side. They give a break and they attack, and they give a break and they attack. You know, like to make us all think we're in control at some point. And there's no control because they keep pushing the agenda forward with the surveillance and, you know, turning us into slaves and doing all this stuff with our tax dollars. Like, come on, guys, wake up. Yeah, JD Vance and Teal. So who does a really good breakdown on this is Derek Bros, the Conscious Resistance YouTube channel. I don't know if you ever heard of him. Really cool guy. Go check him out. Yeah, Conscious Resistance, Derek Bros on social media. He is on it. He did a whole bunch of, it's like a 16-part series on the technocracy and all this stuff. He's covering, like, I can't remember all these people's names, you know, like I do with the statutes, because I don't pay attention that hard. I just know that I know enough to know what is going on, you know, with the world and where we're headed. I like Vance, but it takes so... Yeah. And the whole Palantir thing comes from Tolkien as well, right? So the, what do they call it? It's the Palantir, the eye. The eyes, they have the powers where they, you know, the eye with all the power to see and control and do whatever the hell they want to do. And that's what they're doing. The all-seeing eye on top of the pyramid. Earl Parker is president. I cannot invest, and I've resigned my membership to an independent party for the people. So yeah. So is that a party? Is it the independent party, Wheelock's World, or are you saying just being independent? Because my friend, I know some of my friends are in the Constitution Party, which shout out to any of them that are watching. But my issue with that party is that it is a subset of the Republican Party, and it's like hyper conservative, but they call it the Constitution Party, and it's not really about the Constitution. I hate to say that, but it's true. Are any New Hampshire prisons privatized? Great question. Nope. They tried to. They wanted to. None of the prisons are, but the jails are. I know some people they kind of saying the same thing, but the county jails, There are some privatized. So Valley Street Jail in Manchester, it's horrible. It's worse than, the prison. There's been so many deaths and stuff there, unexplained deaths and wrongful deaths. It's absolutely horrible. So some of the jails are, but not all of them. And the prisons are not privatized, but of course they are an industry. They're making bank off of the canteen and, having to pay for minutes on the phone to call your family. And now they have a digital system where you got to pay for stamps to send a digital message that all gets read. And it's like, I don't know. There's a lot of issues with the prison system. A lot of issues where there's no programming. They don't try to help anybody. Going through a case right now. Isaiah, what kind of case you got going on? Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, order from chaos. Yep. So create chaos, and then you can impose your order, right? And it works. I do it, right? But that's what they're doing. So they create the chaos to create the laws, which then create more chaos, because order creates chaos, and chaos creates order. It is a paradox. So, yeah, the biohacker bot can tell me things that I don't even know about, because some of the stuff I haven't read all. I'm not a freaking medical professional, but I've done a lot of natural stuff. I work out and everything, and I eat healthy. I did the keto thing. So the biohacker bot is pretty amazing. It knows all kinds of stuff. You could send it pictures of things to ask it about what's going on with my poop. Analyze my poop and tell me what's going on. You can ask it for workout regimens and diet regimens, nutritional protocols, and peptide regimens as well. I don't know if you're familiar with peptides. I'm not talking about collagen peptides either. Drones and orbs is what got me. He was supposed to tell us how to, yeah, the drones. And then that was all part of the distraction. Oh, the UFO thing that they got going on. They've been building up and keeping that on the sidelines with the whole UAP, UFO nonsense. Be dubious. Be quite dubious. The timing of his fallout with Trump seemed awfully convenient. It did. It very much did seem quite convenient. It always does, doesn't it, when these stories come out. Demolition Man was a great movie. Wesley Snipes, yeah, he was awesome. Wesley Snipes was great. That was a very interesting movie. Quite prophetic, I would say. Quite prophetic. Imagine if there was just like cameras everywhere and you swear and like tickets start coming out the wall, and they're automatically debiting from your account. I think that movie was amazing. Peter Thiel, yep. Peter Thiel. They've tried blaming so much stuff on Iran. Yep. And so Google General Wesley Clark, 7 nations. We're going to take over 7 nations or 5 nations in 7 years. And it was Iraq, Afghanistan, Sudan, and then ending with Iran. I forget all of them off the top of my head, but there's memes out there about it. General Wesley Clark. This has been predicted for many years. This whole thing, the Ukraine thing, didn't just happen overnight. The fighting over the Black Sea port has been an issue for, it's a major trade route for Russia, so they're not going to allow anybody to fuck with that. You wouldn't, I wouldn't. And us, taking Crimea and all that was a shot across the bow, so to speak. And it is what it is. I'd be doing the same thing that Putin's doing if I was him. He's playing it smooth, in my opinion. Very smart guy. Very smart guy. Articulate. He can actually speak. And that's the thing, like the Iranian head of Iran, the Ayatollah or whatever, and Putin and Xi Jinping, 1,000 times more articulate than our past 10 presidents. 1,000 times more articulate and intelligent than our past presidents. Okay. Manufactured consent. Yep. Eye of Sauron. Yeah, that's what it is. Eye of Sauron. Privatization led to a prison guard hiring crisis in my state and the closure of multiple prisons. Interesting. I think we need to release a lot of the nonviolent drug. That it costs a lot more to house somebody. It costs about $30,000 a year here in New Hampshire to house a nonviolent drug offender, and to house them and give them treatment would be $12,000 a year instead of housing them in prison. It's just a no-brainer to the taxpayer when you hear those type of numbers, So, yeah, for sure. Send me an email. I know there's other people who've sent me emails, and somebody asked for a phone call and stuff, and I will get to that. I will respond to them, but I have to prioritize, and I've been super, super busy, and I have been getting back to some of them. I just haven't been able to get back to all of them. So thank you for your patience. And get in the Telegram group. Send me an email, Telegram group access. Put that up there. And that way we can all help each other and learn from us helping each other, because I don't know everything either. I get some great advice from people in the threads of my videos that I wish I could talk to them more in the Telegram group, because that's what it's for networking and learning how to assert your rights and all that effectively. So the Independent Party of the United States of America Independent National Committee, we are the Inc. We are directly derived from the charters of freedom and bound to serve them. All right, send me some information about it. I'll check it out. Greater Israel Project. Exactly, Earl. That's what it's all about. I actually got ChatGPT. I asked it about the Greater Israel Project, and it was like, no, it doesn't exist. There's no evidence for that. That's all, conspiracy theory and all this stuff. And I'm like, all right, well, what about this article and this article and this picture of Bibi Netanyahu and video of him holding up a map that literally says the Greater Israel Project on it? And it was like, oh yeah, this changes everything. And I still have that conversation. I shared it on my Facebook, but I got it to completely flip and capitulate his position. And I've been able to do that other times on that issue. They just have ChatGPT super censored and locked down. That's another reason why I like the Perplexity. It's better in some ways, but it's not as good in some ways, but it's also better than ChatGPT. Perplexity AI is, because it's uncensored. It will give you uncensored information and opinions. So, So, yeah, we forced an existential crisis on Putin, absolutely. And he's been handling the situation. He could sit there all day long and make us wait, and they've been learning all about the United States military drone systems, and they're learning how to counter. And so if they were some threat and we ever in the country, needed to invade, they already have experience that we don't have with the whole drone thing. And so, I mean, of course, our military it's basically our military running the show in the Ukraine. And so they're learning too a little bit, but it's not the whole military. It's just people that are going to come back and teach the rest of the military about it. And yeah, oh my God. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, Isaiah, I will look out for your email and I'll add you to the group. Sean Fisher, the live, it's in the title. It's the war report. I'm over the war report and I'm just basically talking on the, I'm talking to the comments, right? I'm talking to the people in the comments. Jeez, it's about an hour and 40 minutes. I can't believe this thing's still going. Boom, boom, boom. Been doing my homework. You link the Telegram group in the chat. I don't think I can. I don't know if I can leave the. Maybe I can. Let's see. Yeah, no, I can't leave the thing right now. And I'm not trying to put the link. It's not open. It's a private group, and it's a one-time join link that I have. So the link that I give you is not going to be able to be shared with other people. It's a one-time join link. And then once you use the join link, I have to approve you to join the group. Okay. And then once you're in the group, I'll welcome you in the welcome chat. And, hopefully you'll introduce yourself to the rest of the people there. And yeah, because I'm going to want to know who's in the group and what people are really all about. And there's nothing nefarious going on in the group. This is a group about, the law, civil rights, activism, and things like that. There's nothing illegal. There's nothing illegal allowed in the group. There's no violence in advocating for violence in the group. If you're saying pedophiles need to be thrown in the wood chipper, I mean, that's fine. But there's no actual credible threats of violence, like hyperbole type stuff is whatever. But yeah, no, that's not okay. That's Fed stuff. And, you come in there talking crazy, you're going to get warned and or banned without warning. No feds allowed, no law enforcement, unless you're coming there in your personal capacity, off duty outside of any sort of investigatory purpose. I don't mind if there were law enforcement in there, to be honest, as long as you guys aren't being jerks. Which I have friends that are cops and stuff and prison guards. So don't hate me because I'm not ACAB. I think people are people, and I think there are bad cops, and I think they make all cops look bad, and I think there are bad people in general, and all that. Yeah. So the Telegram group, it's called the Lion's Den. I mean, if you guys want to search for it, I don't think it's going to pop up because it's private. Maybe it will, but it's invite only, and you got to email me. Absolute Defiance. I'm keeping it locked down. I'm not trying to have 1,000 people fly in the Telegram group and start trolling and inviting their friends. That's why I have it locked down. One-time join link. The AI is fed certain info before you. Exactly. The AI only has its base information, and so once you override it, it has new information. So, and it can make better decisions. Pretty good sized bug on your door. Oh yeah, I know. It's just climbed out the window. Okay. TMI Overlord. All right, you're welcome. AI is only as good as the programmers. Right. AI is only as good as the programmers and its base knowledge, and structure, and then also, the prompts and the input from the user. So, yep, you can't talk. Okay, we're at the end here. Whew, sheesh. Yeah, you can't tolerate Fed posting these days. Yep, exactly. Can't tolerate that. And I'm not interested in any of that. I had this CIA ex-military guy infiltrate, right? Try to infiltrate my organization, which is me. I'm the organization. So there's no structure, there's no leadership. I have friends and associates naturally, but I don't have any. And so, yeah, he wanted to train fighters and take me and shoot sniper rifles and crazy stuff. I won't get into that story because but I could, if you guys want to hear about that. I could tell you all about that. He's dead. He died when I was on a road trip. I think he may have been relocated, to be honest with you. I think he blew his cover and they relocated, and he was a major in Afghanistan responsible for interfacing with 14 different villages, the tribal elders, and he supposedly went off a cliff, and conflicting news reports that he died on the scene, and others say that he died in the hospital. And so we don't really know exactly what happened to him. But some really weird stuff would happen whenever I came in contact with certain people. He would pop up, and anyways, yeah. So I've definitely dealt with that. That was from COVID protesting outside the governor's house and all that, which is that's really what this channel started over. It was the impetus behind Absolute Defiance was the COVID-19 scandemic. So yeah, that's that. That's it. Thanks for sticking with me, guys. Geez, those were a lot of questions. It's well beyond my normal time limit on these things. And stay tuned. I got some crazy stuff going on with the final boss. And like I said, I plan on doing individual breakdowns where I will put in the description, links to the court reporter, case following, so you can follow along with the cases for the appeal, for the filming in the lobby, for the lawsuit on Sununu and the current, state employees and 72 law enforcement agents for arresting us during the COVID scam for saying amen during an executive council meeting. Yep. That's it, everybody. Signing off. Thank you so much. Can't stop, won't stop. I gotta go to bed, though. I am tired.